Imagine being the world's greatest pacifist only to be born in a world that didn't need one. This is something that happens to fall upon Licht's shoulders. In this video, I'm going to be going over the life of Licht Bach and telling you exactly who he is. When Licht was first introduced, he came off as a weird beggar, but in that very same chapter/episode, we see that he is the legendary Red Baron, a legendary soldier who was a dog for the military. But how did he become that? You see, Licht's actual name is Rihito Sakai. When he was a kid, he was abandoned by his mother on top of a building, then later adopted by an old lady and given the name Sakai, becoming brothers with a character named Tokikaze. Rihito and Tokikaze would both later enroll in military school, Rihito joining to make sure that Tokikaze doesn't become a murderer. The reason Tokikaze was joining in the first place is because a war started and times were getting rough. Now, when Rihito joined, he had an optimistic idea, to say the least. The idea was to be a military that didn't kill, or a unit that didn't kill at least. Now, most people would see the problem with this, but Rihito was sure he could make it work. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. You see, during this, Rihito General Sherman and his lieutenants were working on something called the H Project. If you've never seen Plunderer, General Sherman is connected to a higher being called All Thing. Because of this connection, he was granted various powers. This project is to have someone injected with Sherman DNA in the hopes of them gaining ability. They determined that Rihito was the best match. Now, Sherman was against it, but choices had to be made, so Rihito underwent the surgery to receive Sherman's DNA. Now, the surgery did turn out to be a success, and Rihito gained superhuman abilities, mainly being super speed. During the time of the surgery, his school was being invaded, but when he woke from the surgery with his newfound speed, he quickly made light work of the invaders, but he decided to spare their lives. Remember, he wanted to be a unit that doesn't kill. Unfortunately, the soldier decided to show Rihito that you can't do stuff halfway on the battlefield. The soldier removed their shirts and showed C4 scratch them, using explosives as leverage. The soldiers tell Rihito that he only has two options: kill them or die. Doing this not to spite Rihito, but to give him a lesson that if you allow your enemies to live during wars, the war will never end. With that in mind, the soldiers begin counting down till they blow themselves and everyone up. Rihito makes his decision and decides to slaughter the whole group of soldiers. This understandably caused Rihito to have a full breakdown. This is when he starts to go off the edge a little bit too. Because of his determination not to have the rest of his unit undergo the same thing, he decides that he would kill all the enemies so that they didn't have to become murderers like him. Even though Rihito decided that, there were still multiple people from his unit that decided to undergo the same surgery and fight with him. Knowing that, Rihito continued to suffer through a war that lasted 300 years, trying to shoulder the burden all alone. Luckily, he wasn't fully alone. He had Dawn and Nana being his support. Unfortunately, that didn't stop this lady, Furida, from mentally manipulating Rihito during the war. Earlier in the series, it was alluded that there was a traitor in her midst, and it turns out to be her. Not only did she force an early war, but during the war, she actually drugged him, making him further unstable, causing him to attack his own units at times even though he sworn to protect them, falling deeper to instability when he thought he offed his brother, Tokikaze. Now, if you're wondering why Further did this, I'll explain. You see, she was in love with Sherman, but the feeling wasn't mutual. A while after Rihito received surgery, him and Sherman actually got close. Sherman had a soft spot for kids, but no family, and Rihito, knowing that, he decided to become his adopted son, being renamed Licht Bach, giving each other a new family. Further learned of this and used it to break Sherman and Licht. After Althea was created, the sky and the island, Licht was finally able to get away from Frida, eventually gaining his sanity back and becoming who you see in episode/chapter 1. Now, later on it's revealed that Tokikaze actually survived, and this led to a conflict between Tokikaze and Licht. But to be honest, it was rather brief. Plus, Licht had to turn his focus towards the mastermind behind everything, Furida. He fought her one-on-one and proceeded to beat the smooth brakes off her, but not kill her. After 300 years of fighting in a war, he no longer wants to slaughter anybody. Now, she did end up getting killed though, but by Alice, not Licht, because she couldn't be allowed to live, especially if the world wanted to become a better place. Licht would then come over with a solution with Sherman to unify the people across the land. With Sherman giving up his powers, everyone who received powers from him lost theirs too. Since it was broadcast to the entire world, this brought an end to the wars, allowing Licht to start a family in a peaceful, boring world, something that they all hoped for. Now, I think that I covered most of it, but if I didn't, my fault. But let me know if I did. I doubt Plunderer is ever getting a second season, so I recommend you try reading it. It's pretty solid actually. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. But if you don't want to read it, that's also fine. But besides that, that's basically it.